Hello everyone, my name is Shelly Airy. I'm a professional contortionist, hand balancer, and aerialist, and owner of ShellyFLEX Athletics. Thank you so much for joining me for this training. We're going to be working on all kinds of hip and hamstring mobility exercises to help you get those splits. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and dive right on in. We're going to start with a warm up to get your legs nice and warm. So we're going to just do some squats here, sending those knees nice and wide, sinking your hips down, sending your hips backwards, and then you're gonna squeeze your butt at the top. Sink your hips down, squeeze your butt at the top. Let's do 5 more. 5, squeeze your butt. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now we're gonna do some reverse lunges. So your hands are gonna be on your hips, you're gonna step back, lunge, and then you're gonna take that back leg, swing it forward. Lunge, swing it. 3, 4, 5, and go ahead and switch. Lunge, 1, 2, 3, keeping most of the weight on that front leg. 4, and 5, good. Going back to those squats again, 10 times, sending those hips backwards. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, good. Standing up, legs are gonna be about shoulder width apart. Legs are all the way straight. Send your hips backwards. Nice flat back. Really reach your hips back. Fold as far down as you can. And stand back up. Squeeze the butt. Reach those hips back. Stand up. Try not to let those knees bend here. Keep your legs all the way straight. Reach your hips back. 5, we're doing 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, okay? Stretching your calves, sinking one heel down, really stretching and lengthening through that back leg, and switch. Switch, keep sending that heel down, engaging the back leg, switch. Two more. Good. Walking your feet in, squatting down. Hands try to stay on the floor as you pike and come back down. See how I'm trying to keep my chest touching my thighs the whole time. A few more here. Okay, on your hands and knees, you're gonna bring one leg back behind you, bring the knee up to the shoulder, and back behind you. Back, knee to shoulder, and behind. 3, 4, and 5. Same thing on the other side, keeping that core strong. Lift the back knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, same thing with a straight leg. Bring it up and over, trying to tap the floor up by your hands and up and over as high as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Same thing on the other side. 1, up and over each time. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. All right, now you're gonna take your foam roller and we're gonna roll out our quads. Laying down on your belly, You're just gonna go nice and slow. So one leg is turned out to the side, one leg is extended, laying on the foam roller. You're going nice and slow. You're kind of looking for that tender spot. Once you find it, you're gonna kind of hang out there for a little bit. And then you can bend your back leg, bring your heel towards your butt, and extend. So notice I'm not just like rolling back and forth like this. I'm kind of trying to stay on that tender spot. Bend and straighten. Take another 20 seconds here. Play around a little bit more. We go up, lower, closer to the knee. If you are liking this video so far, I know we just kind of got started, but I do have tons of other tutorials. I have short little tutorials on Instagram. Go ahead and switch legs. You can follow me at ShellyFLEX. Nice slow rolling back and forth. I post a lot of longer tutorials and trainings on YouTube. ShellyFLEX LLC. Nice and slow. And then bend the back leg and straighten. And then you can also join my Facebook group. I think it's Handstands and Flexibility with ShellyFLEX. Nice and slow, go back and forth. You can also post your training videos in that Facebook group and then ask me any other questions and I'll give you feedback. So lots of opportunities to train your handstands and flexibility. Okay, go a little bit lower. Again, finding that tender spot. And I love to create trainings that people are looking for. So we can do beginner trainings all the way up to advanced hand balancing and contortion. So just let me know in the comments what kind of training you'd like me to do next. Okay, now we're gonna do a wide squat. So you're gonna really send those knees out, use your elbows to push the knees wider, hold onto your ankles, and then bending forward. And you're gonna do just like a little rock from side to side. So notice that my feet are directly underneath of my knees. So I'm not in here like this, I'm not like way out. My feet are directly underneath of my knees, bending forward. Really using my elbows to push my knees as wide as I can as I hinge forward. This is a pretty deep groin stretch. Rocking from side to side. Okay, awesome. Straightening those legs, flattening out in your back. I'm trying to almost like send my tailbone up to the ceiling. So getting rid of any kind of rounding here, flattening out, and you can just rock your hips from side to side. Rock those hips. Try to get your body as low down as you can. Go ahead and grab your foam roller again. This time, we're gonna roll out the leg that is bent, okay? So I'm gonna show you from the front. I'm gonna turn this leg out to the side, extend my other leg straight back behind me, down onto my elbows, and I'm gonna go all the way up into my hip. I'm gonna hang out here for a little bit. You're trying to put as much weight as you can handle on the foam roller itself. So if you notice yourself kind of squeezing, see if you can relax into a little bit more so you can get into your groin. If you find this to be really intense, I suggest that you stay on it longer so you can pause the video if you need to. Just trying to really relax this leg onto the foam roller. You can go all the way out towards your knee. You can extend this leg. All All right, let's switch to the other side. I'll show you from this angle. Knee is out to the side, other leg is extended back. And again, all the way up into your hip. Trying to sink down, relaxing in this leg. Trying to put as much weight as you can on the foam roller. You can go all the way up in towards your hip, just trying to relax that leg. And then you can go out towards your knee and extend and relax. Okay, let's go ahead and do a butterfly. Bringing those feet together and then bending forward. So you're trying to use your elbows to push your knees down, pulling your chest down towards your feet, trying to keep your back nice and flat. Pulling that chest down. Back is super flat here, so you're trying not to round here. Try to sit up a little bit more as you bend forward. Use those elbows. Okay, 5 more seconds here, using your hands to pull your chest down towards your feet. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now we're gonna do a pancake. So you're gonna sit in your straddle. If you feel like you can't sit up all the way into your straddle, what you can do is take a yoga block and put it under your butt. And then extend into the straddle. That should help you to sit up straighter. So if you're finding you're like really rounding like this, sit up on a yoga block, that should help. And what we're gonna do is lean over to one side, crossing one arm underneath and then reaching up and over with the other. And you're really trying to rotate your chest up towards the ceiling. And then switch to the other side, reaching up and over, again, trying to rotate that chest up towards the ceiling. Trying to make sure you're keeping this opposite hip on the floor. So a lot of times I see like you get space under here. You want to send that hip down to the floor as you're reaching over. And then you're gonna reach forward, trying to get your chest down to the floor. So you're in your straddle, really trying to reach forward. You're gonna squeeze your glute med, so you're gonna try to pull your legs wider as you're reaching forward. Try to go as low as you possibly can. Once you're at your absolute lowest point, what I want you to try to do is put a hand behind your head, the other hand behind your head, and lift your head off the ground. So I don't want you to be digging your chin into the floor or your head into the floor. I want you to try to be sinking that chest down. I would start with your chest as low as you can rather than starting from here, because what you're gonna do, one is you're gonna like squeeze really hard, and you also don't wanna like fall and land on your face, right? And break your nose, that would be embarrassing. So fold down as much as you can first. Hands go behind your head, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great. Going back to the side bends. This time you're gonna bring your arms up over your head, keeping that opposite on the floor and coming back up. This is gonna help to strengthen your core, which is gonna provide more stability. And more stability means that your body is going to be more willing to access a deeper range of motion. Let's do 4 more. 1, 2, using your core each time to come up. 3, and 4. Okay, so we've done a lot of like hip or like groin and hamstring flexibility. We haven't done too much with that back hip yet. So we're gonna do a lunge. I'm gonna start on my left leg. I'm gonna be sinking into that back hip, really trying to stretch and lengthen through here. So what I'm doing with my back leg is I'm trying to extend it and reach it behind. I'm not just like passively sitting here, I'm reaching. So I'm almost thinking of straightening this back leg, but rather than lifting the back knee off the floor, I'm gonna try to extend and sink my hips even lower down. So you should really feel that stretch here. You can even kind of push back a little bit. I'm okay with some extension in the lower back. If you want to isolate, let's go ahead and do that. So sink down into the hip. Then I want you to come up a little bit so that you can tuck this hip under. You don't need to come all the way up to here. Just come out of it just a little bit so you can round in your hips a little bit more, and you should feel an even more intense stretch right through the hip flexor. If you want even more, you can take that right hand and reach it up, and it's gonna extend the stretch all the way through here. Okay, go ahead and sink back down. My right hand is gonna go on the floor. I'm gonna kind of lean into the inside a little bit, bend the back leg, and grab it with my left hand, trying to keep my hips sinking down as I bend this leg. I don't want you to come up like this. We're trying to stretch through the quad and the hip flexor here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we're gonna stretch that front hamstring, straighten the front leg, trying to get the round out of your back. So flattening out in your back here as you bend forward. Making sure this hip is staying on top of the knee. You're not sinking back here. Flattening out so you can get the elbows down to the floor. Great. You're gonna go back to your lunge, and now you're gonna roll through this hip. Go to the other side. Roll through this hip, keeping the hips as low as you can. And now you're sinking down into this lunge. Sitting up nice and straight. Sink, sink, sink. Trying to straighten out that back leg, really lengthening through the back leg. Sinking down. Okay, I'm gonna squeeze this butt cheek to try to sink my hips even lower. And then I'm gonna come out of it just a little bit. So I'm pushing into my front leg. I'm still tucking my hips under, really trying to round here, and then reaching this left arm up and kind of away. So I'm gonna get really deep stretch all through here. And sinking back down into it. Shifting the way back, straightening that front leg, hips are square, flattening out, bending forward. Trying not to round too much here, trying to flatten out as much as you can. And then going back into your lunge. Now your left hand is gonna stay on the floor. Bending the back leg, grabbing it with your right hand, sinking those hips down, down, down. Trying to bring the heel to your butt. Don't let your butt come up. Hips stay down, stretch. Okay, and we're gonna roll that hip through again. Go over to the other side, keep the hip down, roll through. This time we're gonna flex the back foot. Extend the back knee, hands on the front leg, and you're gonna extend, pushing through this front leg and sinking back down. Extend, 2, 3, 4, we're doing 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're switching again. Roll through the back hip, flexing the back foot, sitting up nice and tall, straightening that back leg, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And coming back, roll through the hip, and switch, and rolling through again. Now we're gonna go to a pigeon on the left leg, Bending that front leg in, you can keep it in close to your hip. Roll the back hip under as you bend forward. Okay, staying here, rolling this back hip under. And then you're gonna sit up straight, keeping this back hip tucked under, bending the back leg. So I'm gonna grab it with my right hand. My right hand is gonna go on the inside of my back leg, keeping this hip down. So a lot of people will tend to sink over here. We wanna get into this back hip. So rolling under, bending the back leg, and then trying to bring the heel towards the butt. Okay, I'm trying to sit up. I'm trying to squeeze this back butt cheek to bring the heel down. Then you're gonna let the back leg extend, and you're actually gonna push into your hand 5, 4. So I'm trying to straighten my leg 3, 2, 1, and then bend it in again. And then extend it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bend it in. Okay, from here, I'm gonna sit on my butt. My knees are gonna come together. I'm gonna do a 90-90. I'm gonna squeeze my butt, hips up, sit back down. Knees together, and hips up, come back down, knees together, hips up. 3, I think that's 4, I don't even know. And switch. We're gonna do 2 more. 1 and 2. Okay, and then we're gonna do our pigeon on our right leg, extending the back leg, rolling under, bending forward. And then sitting up, bending the back leg. I'm grabbing with my left hand on the inside of the back foot. I'm making sure I'm not sitting back on this right hip, but I'm rolling the back hip under and then bringing the heel towards the butt. And then you can extend 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bend it in. And again, extend 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bend it in. Okay, and back to our 90-90s. Coming up. 3, 4, 5, and last one, 6. Okay, and now we're gonna do split on the left leg. If you need to, you can grab yoga blocks. Now I want you guys to keep in mind, we did a really, really solid warm up. We warmed up your hips, your hamstrings. You should be totally ready to go ahead and work on your splits now. What I've kind of noticed is sometimes we have this idea in our mind that like splits are gonna be really, really painful and intense, which is, in my opinion, is kind of silly. I feel like it's the same as all the other stretches. It's just that we've built it up in our minds as like this really intense thing. And so going into our splits, we're like, okay, I'm gonna do my split. It's gonna be really intense, but I can do it. And it's like that mindset is making it more painful than it needs to be, right? You're priming your nervous system for this like really intense. It's almost like when you go to the doctor and you're gonna get a shot and you're like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be a needle and it's gonna be so painful, da 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 da. And then it like ends up hurting more than if you're just like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. I'm just gonna look at my phone. They're gonna give me a shot. It's gonna be no big deal, right? So let's try to go into this with the same mindset. You're gonna go into your split. You can have your hands elevated if you'd like. Okay, sliding the back leg down. And then you just need to kind of like not even make a big deal out of it, right? So maybe you're not touching yet, that's totally fine. You're not even making a big deal out of it. I'm kind of rocking back and forth. I'm feeling the stretch. I'm like, well, yeah, I warmed up. I'm totally ready for this, okay? So what I want you to try to do is take the weight out of the blocks, okay? It's no big deal here, okay? Even if you're not touching, even if you're up here, you're totally fine. Take the weight out of your hands. You're gonna sink a little bit lower, trying to lengthen, reach the legs out. It's no big deal, right? You stay here for a little bit. Another thing that I've noticed is that we don't tend to do more than just a split on the floor. If you want to be able to do really beautiful leg holds, or you want a beautiful split on the fabric, or if you want a beautiful split on the pole or something like that, you need to be training over splits. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and switch sides. Same thing, hands are elevated, sliding on down into that split. Again, it's no big deal. You're rocking back and forth. Okay, the more you can relax, kind of calm your nervous system down, the less painful it will be. And eventually it will feel just like any other stretch that you're doing. Okay, so you're rocking back and forth, no big deal. Now for those of you that this is just like, psh, no big thing, go ahead, put a yoga block under your front foot, same thing. And I'm just rocking into it. I can bend forward if I want. I can play around with bending the back leg. Okay, working on this over split. And again, I often find that people do, okay, maybe they'll put one yoga block under their heel. Okay, if you're touching, if this is no big deal, put another yoga block under. Okay, turning that back hip under and just working on that split. You want to keep going until you can't touch the floor anymore. And even if you can't touch the floor, that's okay. You can be up here, that's totally fine, and working on that over split, that's great. Okay, so I want you guys to start trying to like push those splits a little bit more, challenge yourselves, just like how you were challenging yourself on your pigeon or on your straddle or your pancake, right? It's the same thing. Keep trying to improve that flexibility so that you can have that deeper range of motion so you can show off your splits during all of those advanced skills. Awesome, that concludes this training. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it or if you have any questions. And if you want any additional trainings that you'd like me to film for you, let me know. Super excited to help out however I can. Thanks again, guys.